wanna see you make it wiggle. I wanna see you make 'em pop and make 'em jiggle. Why don't you hit the floor and shake it up? Make it round, make it twerk, now bank that bank. We wanna see you make it wiggle. We wanna see you make it pop and make it jiggle. Why don't you hit the floor and shake it up? Make it round, make it twerk, now bank that bank. With them boys, Kendre Miller, got my DJ full pack, mixing on the floor. And we about to let you know how it goes in the city. Ask anybody in it if PNC be coming with it. New Orleans, the city where I stay, but I'm paying down on the weekend at a block party. If the club ain't on, then my 4 or 5 bands is hit the stage, got the mic and out the doors on the hit.
Show it in a bottle, we been taking on. Show it on the shape, fire now, pop it, baby. On that booty, on the wall, you can't stop it, baby. Stop it, baby. Do it again, move it, take it down for me. Shake it down for me. Back it up, put it in reverse, and drop it home for me. Baby, I know you love it, cause I saw me off the easy. Kendre Miller hooked up with PNC and Lil Weezy.
Why don't you shake it like a dog?
Wobble, baby, twerk it, baby.
Oh,
Twerk it, baby, hurt me, baby.
shake it like a dog.
Wobble, baby, twerk it, baby.
Shake it like a dog. Shake it like a dog. Shake it like a dog.
Wobble, baby, twerk it, baby.
Oh,
Serve it, baby, hurt me, baby.
shake it like a dog.
Wobble, baby, twerk it, baby.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Can y'all hear me now? Can everybody hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, now y'all can hear me. Okay. This is what we're about to do, all right? Y'all already know, man. Y'all already know what we about to do. Let's start.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
All right. Let me adjust this real quick. There we go. All right. Everybody can hear me. Everybody can see me, right? Everybody can see me, right? All right. What's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. First deposit up to 125% on your second and third deposit up to $2,000. Use the promo code YouTube 150. I feel kind of crazy because I was on there for about 5 minutes pouring my heart out. I said that I wanted to dedicate this show to my aunt, Miss Mary McSwain. She passed away 2 weeks ago. They had a funeral a couple of days ago, and she lived in Portland, Oregon. She used to come down to New Orleans quite often when we used to have our Women's Day programs at church. And her granddaughters, man, my cousins, man, we were pretty close in age. Her oldest daughter had 3 daughters, and I can just remember us hanging out and stuff like that, man. And man, so just want to say rest in peace to my Aunt Mary. Also want to give a special shout out to my little man Paxton. As many of you know, Paxton is 5 years old. He's in kindergarten, and he ended up receiving 2 awards at the first quarter. The first quarter award ceremony. He received the award for math as well as reading, man. So my little man out there doing big things. So definitely proud of him. And I'm very proud of the State of the Saints podcast, this podcast that we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about the Saints evaluating talent and looking towards the future, because we know that, unfortunately, the chances of the Saints making a postseason this season is slim to none. More likely, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because the New Orleans Saints, they went on a 7-game losing streak, and most recently they lost to the Rams, an NFC opponent, and they are trying to fight for their playoff lives as well. So that kind of makes the Rams jump in front of them because they are NFC opponents. So the more you look around and the more you evaluate and the more you see things, the more you realize that it ain't happening when it comes to the playoffs. More than likely, it ain't happening with the division, despite the fact that you beat the Falcons by a score of 20-17. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, this is a bad football team. They do what bad teams do, which is lose games that they should win and can't finish. I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm kind of over that. I think we already know where we are when it comes to this team. No need for us to be sitting up here worrying ourselves, getting ourselves all worked up, stressed out about something that we cannot control. We need to be focused on what? Improving this football team. And how you do that? You do it by going out here and evaluating talent with the few games that you have left. Now, the New Orleans Saints have a game. They head to the Meadowlands to take on a team that is just as bad as they are, the New York Football Giants. Drew Lock will be the starting quarterback in this game. He was the starting quarterback on Thanksgiving, the last time the Giants took the field, and they did not go out there and just get steamrolled. They really tried hard and fought to try to beat the Dallas Cowboys, but they couldn't. But, the more you look at the Giants, I think they know where they are. There are going to be some changes that are going to be happening in New York. Brian Daboll's job could be in jeopardy. Not sure about the general manager. If it's not, it should be. But the New Orleans Saints, for some apparent reason, I think that they still are looking at themselves as a contender and thinking that they're close. And on the reports that I'm hearing about Mickey Loomis' job being safe, that's not a surprise to me. The fact that his job is indeed safe, but it's just surprising to me how this team just refuses to get out of its own way. And it will continue to be in its own way as long as Mickey Loomis is calling the shots and running an organization based on emotion. You're going to constantly have some clashes between him and Gail Benson and upper management because he refused to budge because he feels like by budging, that means that he has surrendered, even though you might as well surrender because some of the decisions that you're making are trash, plain and simple. But I'm looking towards the future, and I'm looking at some of these guys that are on this football team. One guy in particular is right there at the bottom of your screen there. Kool-Aid McKinstry has been playing really, really well. He's been thrust into the starting lineup due to the injuries of Paulson Adebo and the Saints trading Marshawn Lattimore to the Commanders. Now you have Alontae Taylor moving on to the outside. They move Ugo Amadi into the slot, and Kool-Aid McKinstry has been a bright spot. I think the more opportunities that Kool-Aid get, the better he will be. I think that he eventually will be that Marshawn Lattimore for the Saints defense, being that shutdown corner. Teams don't really test him as much. Some people feel like that's because Alontae Taylor is more feast or famine, but I like to believe that if they felt that I'm talking McKinstry, was feast or famine, they would be trying to throw his way as well, but they don't. I mean, sometimes I forget that Kool-Aid McKinstry is even out there. So that's a testament to him as a worker and as a guy that's out there doing his thing. One name on a lot of the members of the Who Dat Nation's lips is running back Kendre Miller. Now, we know that Kendre Miller was not a Dennis Allen fan, and Dennis Allen didn't seem like he was a Kendre Miller fan. He wasted no time. He spared no syllables or words when it came to Kendre Miller. It don't seem like he liked Kendre Miller's work ethic. It seemed like he felt like Kendre Miller wasn't all there. And not to mention with the injuries, it seemed like he was upset that he was injured. Now, I don't know if that's because maybe the training staff felt that Kendre Miller's injuries could have been avoided with proper nutrition or workout habits. I don't know. But Kendre Miller gets another opportunity. He comes off IR. Some people felt like he shouldn't have been on IR in the first place, so he should be ready to rock and roll. I played the clip a few episodes ago where interim coach Darren Rizzi spoke about him not having a doghouse. He giving Kendre Miller a chance to prove himself. It's a clean slate, and Kendre Miller is extremely confident. I seen like a little quick 1-minute interview with him in the locker room. He said that he never lost confidence. And I just think that a lot of the issues that plague this team, whether it comes to injuries or willingness to do something, I think it has a lot to do with Dennis Allen being a head coach. And it's amazing to me how now you're starting to see and hear like certain things about Dennis Allen or little side jabs when it comes to Dennis Allen that people weren't making when he was the coach. It's kind of like one of those situations where, as long as he's a coach, you don't want to say anything about it. But now, he's not around. Now everybody's kind of knowing what the issue is. It just seems like Dennis Allen wanted to do things his own way. Didn't seem like he was a player's coach. It seemed like, it didn't seem like he really had a pulse on this football team, and he wasn't a real true leader of men. And the more that I hear about that, the more I feel more and more, embedded in my beliefs and my feelings about Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen turned this team into an absolute train wreck. The confidence of guys wavered. The abilities of guys wanting and willingness to go out there and try to perform, like they wanted to. But look, if my leg is hurting a little bit more than it should be, I ain't trying to go back out there trying to go out there and ball out for no Dennis Allen. So I think that these guys are going to try to do everything that they can to try to keep Darren Rizzi in that conversation to be the Saints' next head coach. And I think you're going to see a lot of these young guys stepping up and taking advantage of the opportunities, because I feel like Darren Rizzi is going to give them the green light, to play free. And I think that this will help Kendre Miller, because I was just waiting for Kendre Miller to come back. Because, I mean, people, I hear some people talking about Kendre Miller like, man, Kendre, he ain't all that good, man. He ain't this, that, and the third. I'm like, every time Kendre Miller is on the field, like, he does something that's impactful. His ability is never in question. It's his ability to stay healthy. That's the question. Like, every time I see him, like, this is what Saints fans need to be excited about when it comes to Kendre Miller. Kendre Miller was getting positive yards in that game versus the Chargers, the last game that he played, when he had no earthly business getting any type of positive yards. He was making guys miss, and he was fighting for extra yards. So if he only could get 1 yard out the deal, he was making somebody miss to get that 1 yard. That is what I respect about the guy, and that's why I feel like Saints fans should be excited about it. I just think that if you aren't excited about it, or you haven't looked at this guy's ability, it's probably because you're frustrated with him because of, the fact that he's been injured. But at the end of the day, I think that he's going to be pretty good. Bud Means, he did return to practice. He had a light practice on the first day, but unfortunately, he did not practice on the second day. So I don't expect for Bud Means to come back, this week or anything like that. I think they're going to kind of slowly, gradually bring him back in. And if he just so happens to be able to play a few games this season, then so be it. But as far as, him going out there playing this Sunday, I highly doubt that's going to happen. It's good to hear that Eric McCoy, has been at practice, having a light practice. Cesar Ruiz, unfortunately, is dealing with a concussion. So that's not very good news. But, all in all, I just want to see some of these young guys make some plays. I mean, if you can go out here and execute and try to win a couple football games, that's fine. I mean, I'm not looking for the Saints to go on some hot run. I'm not thinking that they're going to make things interesting, because I think they pretty much killed their chances last week when they lost to the Rams. But we can see what they can do against the New York Football Giants. Should be interesting to see if some of these young players are going to get more opportunities than they normally would in the case of trying to see what they are going forward. Let me go ahead and read some of your comments. Thank you all for being here. Nola Girl says, congratulations and sorry for your loss. Yeah, that's pretty tough to the family. But I often say, that's the tough thing about getting older, rather. The people that you're used to seeing, growing up, as you get older, they get older as well. And unfortunately, they pass away. But, I could just remember the memories of my aunt coming down from Portland, Oregon to New Orleans and just being around. And, she was a very sweet woman. She always was dressed to the nines, and go to church. She had on and stuff like that. And, the outfit that complements the hat. So, I mean, it was always a great time every time she came down, because, my grandmother, loved to see her, and, like, she will be missed, because, like I said, she was my grandmother's oldest sister. She was the oldest living sibling that she had. So I see. Congrats to Pac, man. Yeah, man, Paxton doing this thing out there, man. Let's see. Smash the like button, comment, and subscribe to the SOTS and the Gumbo Pot. Thank you, Cartel. I appreciate that. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button. Thomas says, fact TJ says, what's happening? Who that baby? What's going on, man? Thank you for being here. I'm going to stroll down to Dalton. Dalton said, I don't know what's going on since I came late, but congrats and prayers. Well, we just kind of got started, man. We had a little technical issue when it comes to the audio. What happened was I ended up restarting this computer right before we were actually supposed to go live, man. So, when you restart a computer, everything kind of goes back to the factory settings. And that's kind of what happened there. So I do apologize for that. But all in all, man, we haven't really talked or touched on much here on the show. So you haven't missed anything. You haven't missed much. Is what I would just say to you. Let's see. Cartel says, get the likes up. Yeah, man, I agree. If you like the State of the Saints podcast, I don't ask, for much. Just hit the subscribe button. If you like the content, if you like the show, you want us to grow as a show, as a community. I just ask everybody kind of to do their part and hit that button. And we'll continue to grow. Like I said, we're a very interactive podcast. I think everybody kind of understands that if you've been around for a while, we're very interactive. So please hit that button. All right. Scroll down a little bit more. Says, say, TJ, I'm excited to see what Kendre Miller can do in the running game. I just hope we don't spread the shares and don't overuse him too much too soon. Yeah, Cartel. Well, I mean, he had some soreness in his I want to say in his hamstring or whatever like that. And it just seemed like Dennis Allen out of spite, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe he just kind of, got all upset and stuff like that at the fact that the guy, ended up getting hurt again. So, out of spite, he ended up like putting his man on IR. So I don't think he was as hurt as, they were making it out to be. That's the thing. Like he was okay. He had some soreness, but nothing out of the ordinary after a game. Of course you're gonna be sore, of course you're gonna be tired, et cetera, but it wasn't to a point where he needed to sit out all those weeks, But this Dennis Allen we talking about here, I guess he was just trying to make a point, and maybe he felt like empowered because Mickey Loomis stood up for him, at the end of the last season when, Jameis Winston allowed Jamal Williams to run a touchdown, and he came up in there and said, "Y'all get behind Dennis Allen, or else," right? So he felt, like it was his team or something like that. So now he just felt like nothing, and to his case, it probably would have been that way if it was up to Mickey Loomis. Like Dennis Allen would still be coaching this football team, still screwing it up, making it look worse than what it actually is. He would have, it would have been the same exact way, and nothing would have changed from that. So he would have still had that man out there, and blaming everybody else and blaming all these other folk, as to why the Saints keep falling short. If it was up to Mickey Loomis, which I think that we're all appreciative of Gail Benson and her willingness to want to step up and coming out of, the comfort zone of just kind of playing a background because she realized that this team was looking like slaw, and she wanted to do something about it. She heard people booing and, not wanting, talk about they selling their tickets and all that. So she intervened, and that's so crazy, man. They were willing, which I didn't understand for the life of me. I didn't understand why or how they could just, sit up there and watch this team just basically just fall apart right in front of their eyes and just keep on, just feeding us nonsense about how injuries and all that kind of stuff. Like injuries played a role. Don't get me wrong, but it's clear that guys didn't care for Dennis Allen. The fan base didn't care for Dennis Allen. It didn't seem like the players cared for Dennis Allen. It was a collective effort. And it's like he was trying to force the issue. I don't understand why, though. I think so. If you have young talent, this is a good time to see what you have at all positions. Yes, I said it. Yeah, I agree. I don't feel like anybody at this stage, when you go 4 consecutive years without making a postseason, when you go 4 consecutive years without really, having a winning record, well, at least 3 out of the 4, it's time to change some things around, man. It's time to change some things around. Like you got, I don't care who you are. Like nobody should feel comfortable at this point. It's time for a change. Hopefully he don't get hurt again. Dennis Allen was backstabby. I know. it created a word backstabby. Kind of backstabby-ish. But yeah, I agree, man. I mean, he would throw you under the bus if that mean that it will save his behind. Which, you know, I feel like that's kind of where he went wrong as a coach, as a leader. You know, I feel like that's probably where dude went wrong. Was, you know, like he sat up there and when things go awry, he would throw other guys under the bus. It's like with Darren Rizzi, like the Saints lost the game, but Riz was like, man, you know, we got to get better at this. That's on me. We got to work on this. But it's always, it's never like it's on me. It was always like, we got to do this. And, you know, he'll name a whole bunch of other people and then he'll talk about himself. Like, dude, like, nah, man, you gotta clean some things up. Like it was never any accountability. And even when he started to take accountability, it just felt disingenuous. It was more like I guess like the front office heard like the naysayers and all the people talking about how he doesn't show accountability. So maybe somebody pulled him to the side and said, hey, Dennis, you know, we noticed, you know, you ain't really, you know, mentioning yourself with this. Maybe you need to take that into consideration. And that's when he started to do it. And it just felt like it was just, I don't know, man. It felt disingenuous. And I think that's just the whole point of this. TJ, do you, in your opinion, is it fair to say that this upcoming season could be Mickey last season, this upcoming season with the Saints? No, I don't feel like this is going to be his last season with the Saints. As a matter of fact, I think that this torture is going to continue. I think that Mickey Loomis isn't going anywhere. You know, there was a conversation, and I seen this on social media last night. You know, people were talking about the will of Tom Benson. And, you know, I always say like he basically third in command of this football team. Now, I want people to understand this. In order for him to gain the type of power and position, like I'm talking about some astronomical, some astronomical number of things got to happen. Some craziness has had to happen. Like it has to be pure tragedy on the forefront in order for like him to even gain, for him to gain that type of power. You know, like it's up to Gail Benson and Dennis Lauscher, right? And then, of course, like if something was to happen to Lauscher and Benson, then, you know, like it would be Mickey Loomis and Benzel. They would be like the two individuals that will be the deciding factor of what happens to the team. And Mickey Loomis would have the authority and the last say over it. Now, it's not to say that like he gonna take over the team one day. Like it would be, like I said, it would have to be something like of tragic nature in order for that to happen. But he still has a lot of power and a lot of cachet. Like the dude has been around, and people can dress it the way they want to, but he is in that will, and that goes to show you how much Tom Benson felt about Mickey Loomis. So he almost looked at Mickey Loomis as a son. Because, you know, Tom Benson never had any biological kids. And the relationship that he had with Mickey Loomis was more like a father and a son. So you're not going to leave a man a name in your will if you don't have some type of love and admiration about him. So I don't care what anybody says, man. Like this dude like ain't just your regular general manager. He ain't moving like your regular general manager. Like he don't have to be afraid of losing his job like a regular general manager. Yes, Gail Benson can jump in and intervene, but I don't see her doing that because of that. Now, if it was just him being a general manager alone, I can see behind the scenes conversations happening. But even if they decide to tell him to step down, he still ain't going anywhere. And whoever the GM is will still have to answer to him. So it really doesn't matter, but I don't see him going anywhere, man. I don't see him going anywhere. He gonna be there in some capacity till the day he dies. Let's see. You better believe that if the Falcons lose in the playoff, it's starting 2025 off right with a big bang. Stay tuned. Well, I'll tell you this, man. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Atlanta Falcons with a 6-6 record. and the Falcons have the tiebreakers and stuff like that. Like if the Falcons end up winning the division, it's probably going to be like how it was last year, where both the Saints and the Bucs went 9-8, and the Bucs owned the tiebreaker, so the Bucs went to the playoffs. It's kind of going to be something like that. Like the Bucs and the Falcons, I feel like going to have the same record, but the Falcons going to end up making the playoffs because they own the tiebreakers. But the Falcons are not a good football team, man. They not. Like to me, Raheem Morris is Dennis Allen. But in African-American skin, what I'm saying? Like, that's just who he is. Like, dude, he is the new Dennis Allen, since Dennis Allen is no longer with the Saints. Like he is a guy to me that is not really a good head coach, and I just feel like, that passive aggressive behavior, it gets you every time. And you can't fake that. That's why it's so hard for coaches like to get those second chances. Some guys are able to take advantage of the second chances, understand what they did wrong, correct them, and have a really good career. I mean, we seen Pete Carroll do it. We seen Bill Belichick do it. We seen Nick Saban do it. But it's tough, because it's basically a guy stripping himself down to like every quality that he have, good and bad, and okay, I'm gonna keep this, I'm gonna take that. It's a tough process, but some guys are able to excel, and some people can't. Let's see, TJ, do you think Anthony Richardson can be Taysom Hill type if he stopped trying to be just a starting quarterback? I know he has to have the passion like Hill, but you think he can transform into that type? No, I don't, man. I don't, because here's the thing, man. One thing I can appreciate about Taysom Hill just wants to play football. Like Taysom Hill understands that the team needs him in other capacities. But he also puts his pride to the side and puts team first. This is the reason why, to me, Taysom Hill this season has really like stepped forward being one of those top 10, top 15 New Orleans Saints players of all time, because Taysom Hill could have did what guys like Tim Tebow has done and some of these other guys where I'm playing quarterback or else, like Taysom Hill could have did that, because Taysom Hill, if you watch Taysom Hill in college, Taysom Hill was a really good college quarterback, man. I can remember watching Taysom Hill, play at BYU. And, he was considered like for the Heisman, for a short minute. But, he goes to the NFL and, he tries to make this dream of being a quarterback in the NFL. But Sean Payton saw him and said, okay, we can use you at quarterback, but we also could use you here, 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 and here. And he could have easily just said, you know what, man, look, I'm a quarterback. It is what it is. And you know what Taysom Hill would have been? Out of the league. But instead, he embraced every single position that these coaches have asked him to do. He never looked at it and said, I don't know how I can do this. Taysom, this year we need you to play fullback and tight end. Taysom out there catching passes and running in between the tackles. You got Taysom Hill running down the field as a gunner on special teams, returning kicks. He put his pride to the side. Like I don't know about these modern day NFL guys sometimes, man. I think that the combination of how college football is now and how they kind of cater to these guys, and they don't really have to deal with adversity seriously until they get to the NFL, because if I don't like my situation at this college, I can go to another college. Oh, they don't like it, I'm going to go to this college over here. I don't know, man. You got to be able to be built of some different stuff. You got to be able to put your pride to the side and understand, like, man, maybe this ain't in the cards for me, but still, I can create a lane for myself. And that's what Taysom Hill did. If Sean Payton didn't create this lane for Taysom Hill, we probably would have never heard of this guy. But Taysom Hill to me is one of the greatest success stories in NFL history. Like, if you think about it, because if we're talking about a guy just simply playing quarterback in the National Football League, Taysom Hill probably wouldn't even be in the league. But we're talking about a guy who has just an unbelievable skill set that he just carved out a lane for himself. And you have so many other teams that follow suit and try to do the things that he does. So I don't know if Anthony Richardson has that type of capacity, man. You know, like if you tapping on your helmet to go on the sidelines, man, I don't know if coaches can have a conversation with you and saying this quarterback thing ain't working out. Maybe, just maybe, we need to try you out here. I don't know. Maybe that pride will get to you. Maybe that pride will get to you, man. I don't know if he can do it. I think that Taysom Hill is special, man, because everybody's not going to put their pride to the side to do what he did. We have been off the rails ever since Sean Payton left. We can't even sprinkle in rookies into the game, plan to evaluate them during a competitive season like other teams. We've been whiffing on rooks. Yeah. I don't know if we've been whiffing on them or if the Saints just don't know how to develop them. Or they just take guys, they take the players and they take away the things that made them special in the first place. Like, you know, like, I don't know, man. If they played left tackle in college and they excelled at left tackle, why are you putting him at left guard when he gets in the NFL? If he's a linebacker that was a pass rushing linebacker, why are you trying to make this man a stand-up linebacker playing sideline to sidelines? They're telling you and showing you every single thing that they can do. But the Saints, they just, for me, like, I just don't understand it. If you feel like you need a defensive player that fits this particular mold and skill set, go find them. Go get them. Don't take somebody and they don't have that skill set, but you're going to try to develop them into that. I feel like the big issue now, and I think Darren Rizzi touched on it. It makes perfect sense. He said most guys are like specialist guys now, right? Because they were talking about Taysom Hill. He was saying that most guys are specialist guys. You got guys that are just strictly pass rushers. They'll be on third down the NASCAR packages. You got guys that can stop the run. So they'll probably be your first, second, and third down, defensive ends. You know, like they have like certain skill sets. You know, like they're not being taught, okay, man, I'm a defensive end. Most of them, you good at pass rushing. They just stick to that. Like when you look at Cam Jordan, for example, Cam Jordan wasn't a sack specialist when he was coming out of Cal. He was a good run. He was a good run defender. Like he can stop the run. But he learned how to be a really good pass rush. And now 110 plus sacks later, he's the greatest sack master in the history of New Orleans Saints football. But he learned that craft. Some guys don't want to sit up here and have those conversations. They don't want to sit up here and talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I'm good at this. This is what I do. This is what I'm capable of. This is what I can do. You know, like you have different guys that can do different things, but I don't know, man. To me, I just think that guys, they have their skill set. They focus on that skill set, and it's kind of hard for them to kind of develop into where you need to be. I feel like when it comes to the case of guys like Zach Barn, Philly just used him the way that he felt comfortable, and that's the reason why he's thriving right now. Barbara, thank you very much for $2. Says, quit chopping wood and go build the house. Well, he got plenty of time to build a house now. I mean, he got a job to go to on Sundays. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to be somebody's defensive coordinator next year, though. He'll be back in the league. TJ, I'll be in that number at the Meadowlands when the Saints are within 3 driving hours of Philly is automatic. I'll be representing full, but damn, I wish there was more at stake. Who that? Well, I mean, there's still something at stake. I mean, you got to look at if some of these guys don't perform, they're not going to be there next year. Darren Rizzi, he has to perform, to see where he goes. Like, even if the Saints don't hire him, he's still auditioning for the other teams that's going to, rather they already fired their coach or teams that may look at, going in a different direction when the season is all said and done. So, I mean, you still got a lot to play for, just not, what we want them to be playing for at this stage. I'm not trying to compare Taysom Hill to Debo, but wish I could. I wish I see him do Debo role putting him full-time fullback. I think that Deebo Samuel and Taysom Hill are like two different beasts, right? I think both of them have really good power, but I just think that Taysom Hill a little bit more well-rounded. Like, man, Deebo Samuel ain't throwing the football like Taysom Hill is. Like Taysom, it's not like when Taysom Hill throws the ball, it's not gimmicky because that was the first position he played. So it's not like he can't thread the needle or throw a ball into a tight space because he was a quarterback. So that's the reason why teams fear Taysom Hill. Like, Taysom Hill can actually throw the football. Like Deebo Samuel, you can line him up in the backfield, but he has a strength. Like he can break those tackles and stuff like that. You're not going to really take him down with the first shot. You got to be able to have a crew around you to take this guy down and tackle him. That's what he brings to the table. I just think that they both are talented. Don't get me wrong. Deebo Samuel is really good, but I think Taysom Hill as an overall football player and what he does, like he does everything they ask him to do well. It's never a point. It has never been a point. Just think about this. It has never been a point in Taysom Hill's career where you looked at him and said, I don't know about Taysom at that position. Every position they asked him to do, he made it work. He's running in between the tackles. He getting rushing touchdowns. He got over 100 yards rushing, a game versus the Cleveland Browns a few weeks ago. He throws the football. I think, one time I think he had 2 passing touchdowns in the game. Like, he runs back kicks. He had a 42-yard kick return. It's like everything they ask him to do, he makes an impact. It's never like, oh, we need somebody in this spot. Taysom, can you go out there and do that? And it's just like he just out there doing it. Like everything they ask him to do, he does it well. And that's the most amazing thing about all that is that he does do everything they ask him to do, and it's impactful. Which to me, I just think that dude is one of the greatest all-around football players. I will go this far. I think he's the greatest overall football player in the modern era. Like, I know that may sound crazy to some folk, but who is doing what this guy does and excelling at it the way that he is? Like, he's the greatest overall football player of the modern era. I'm not talking about from one particular skill set. I'm talking about I think that he's the best. Like, you got to go back in the day to find somebody that's just doing it like he's doing it. Now, as Aloni is injured, he's all right. He's always right. Yeah, I mean, look, he was on IR. I think he on IR for the Lions, but I mean, he had like a freakish injury or something like that. I think like his forearm, broke his forearm or something like that. But yeah, I mean, he was making some plays though. Vic Fangio, one of the best coordinators, always liked him and respect him, but he's using Barn right. Yeah, I think that's a match made in heaven right there. We need that mindset all over our coaching staff, Dalton. I meant like Taysom do jet sweeps like Deebo had. Nah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, I get, man. I wouldn't put past what Taysom Hill's capabilities are. Justin can kind of be the new Taysom. Let's see. Yep. And Barbara says, could you imagine Taysom playing linebacker and getting a sack? I mean, if he can block a kick, I'm pretty sure he can get a sack. The best jack of all trades. Yeah, I think that he's the absolute best, man. I think that he's the best. I don't think you can find too many people like him. But I want to say again that this show is powered by BETUS. You can sign up today, get up to 150% on your first deposit, up to 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. All you have to do is use that promo code YouTube 150. I want to see if this reaction actually worked. I want everybody to hit that like button. Let me see if it worked. Yeah, there you go. Hit that like button. If you enjoyed the State of the Saints podcast, if you love the show, hit that thumbs up. If you like the show, make sure that you do that because, you guys are rock stars. Yeah. Yes, sir, man. You'll be a true rock star in my book if you can actually do that. All right. So make sure that you doing those things to help the show be what it is. I just found that out there. I can actually do that on this computer. I got to figure out how I could do it on the one on my laptop. It's something crazy. Like, yeah, let me see. Oh, well, that one doesn't do anything. I thought like when you put your great crown on your head and do something like this, but I guess you can put that rock star up like but yeah, man, please do your part. Help the show grow. Marshawn Lattimore is going to be back in time to play against us. He's still been hurt this whole time. Think it was good that we let him go for those draft picks. Yeah. I mean, look, I can't. I like Marshawn Lattimore. I like him a lot. I think that Marshawn is a talented player. I think that, I think he will be missed. I think that in some cases, like his impact, on the game, definitely affected the way that the Saints approach the game. But hey, I mean, right now he hasn't been playing, and the Saints got a draft pick, well, 2 draft picks because of it, for trading him. But I think that they're probably going to need him down the stretch. Reason why I think, let me see, I asked Derek, I'm defensive guy, always wanted to see him, what he can do on the defensive side. Yeah, look, man, I think defensively, when it comes to like the New Orleans Saints, it ain't what it used to be, man. It definitely ain't what it used to be. But that's why you got to kind of change some things around. You got to change some things around. But I think that, I think that you definitely need to get these young players involved. I want to see what Kendre Miller can do. I want to see what Bub Means can do once he comes back, if he comes back. I like what I've been seeing out of Talese Fuaga. I like what I've been seeing out of Brian Brzee. I still feel like Brian Brzee maybe need to, move the defensive end. I think that maybe if the Saints had him as like just a pass rushing defensive end instead of having him on it inside, I think that he might be a monster. But I don't know, man. If he gets better at a run defense, I think that he'll be a really good overall defensive tackle. But he definitely not gets to the quarterback. Say TJ, I know I've been whispering about Kyron Jones, but I'd like to suggest another option. Take a look at Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. I'm familiar with Jackson Dart. I think that Jackson Dart is talented. Think he has a nice arm, nice deep ball, good accuracy. I don't know, man. Maybe like a 3rd round pick or something like that. Maybe a late 2nd round pick. I think that he has talent. He has like really good qualities. And I think that a team is going to end up like going after him, and we'll see what they could actually do. I mean, I'm looking at his stats right now. I mean, I think that more than likely he'll be attending the Senior Bowl. I think that might help him, be able to, get some scouts taking a look at him. I think they already know what he can do. I mean, like I said, he's accurate. I mean, he always averaged in the upper like 60s when it comes to completion percentage. As of this year, he has a 68% completion percentage. But my concerns is some of these games that he played where, it was more tougher competition, man. I wanted to see him step up a little bit more than what he did. Other than that, I mean, I think that he's talented. I'll take a few more and then we can go ahead and get up out of here. Good afternoon, Who Dat Nation. Afternoon, TJ. Just looking forward to the offseason. I think a lot of people feel that way. Do we have quarterback coaches that help Carr have better pocket presence and awareness? 11 years, he's still dealing with the same issues. I think at the end of the day, if you've been dealing with the same issues for 11 seasons, you are who you are. And there's no need for us to sit up here and be trying to change it. You are who you are at this point. Dalton, I see Taylor at safety more. Let me see. He is a ball hawk and a thumper. Yeah, I agree. You know, I agree that, you know, he's a thumper, but I think he's good in the nickel. I think maybe the Saints, I think they ran back Paulson Adebo, and they'll probably put Lante Taylor back in the nickel. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. Sorry about the audio issues earlier. Appreciate you all for sticking around. Once again, hit that like button if you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast, okay? I really do appreciate it. Much love to everybody out there, man. Much love to y'all, man, for showing love to the State of the Saints podcast. You can subscribe. You can also follow me on X at TJAYJones8. And also you can check out the Gumbo Pod Sports podcast and the NFC South Roundtable. NFC South Roundtable every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So make sure that you check it out. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Till next time. All I got to say is, who dat?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.